Hello and welcome to the Brand Odyssey podcast. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Miranda, and we are two designers from brand agency 3 Blocks Left. We're here to take you on an exploration of what goes right and what goes really wrong in design, branding, and the creative universe.
So hop in, pop on your seatbelts because we are going on a brand odyssey.
Hi, Kylie.
Hi, Miranda.
How are you going?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Yes, we have a big episode, which leads me into another structure change.
Woohoo!
Shock horror. We are changing the format again, but we feel like pre-20,000 listeners holding us accountable, we kind of get to do what we want still, don't we?
Yeah, we're just experimenting with the next 2 episodes because unknowingly we've both come to the table this week with 2 huge topics. So rather than hitting you up with a 3-hour episode, we thought we would split them into 2.
Yes, we were messaging each other saying that we've basically taken on a lot of homework and both could probably be a 6-part miniseries. So to do them justice, they're going to be an episode each, and Kylie's going to hit us off this week with a make story.
But first up, we're going to keep going with our personal makes and breaks. So you're going to do your make.
Yes, it's the last week of October, which is Halloween, which fast is becoming, one of my favorite holidays. I feel like Halloween's really grown in Australia in the last 5 years. We're following America's lead and realizing it's probably, I'd say it goes Christmas, Halloween, Easter in order of fun. What do you think?
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Halloween's just super fun.
Yeah, you've got dress-ups, and dress-ups are great. But I have a 2- and 4-year-old, and I was thinking of things that they could go as. Maybe Mario and Luigi would be kind of cute, or different ideas I had, which I never got round to. So I thought, okay, I'll take them into Target and they can help me choose something. And quickly they both chose these little like skeleton onesie outfits, which they'd be pretty cute, and I was happy with that. And then as we were leaving the Target, so Target came up and Big W have this thing that's quite clever for their add-on shopping, is in the aisles, they put all these like knickknacks that kids want just as you're leaving, which for me, I'm usually able to get out without spending more money. It's just the time is like Henry and Gus want to touch every single like Mario Pez dispense. Anyway, they spotted these $2 pumpkin masks that were like, had a hood at the back, and they were like fluoro yellow plastic scary pumpkin masks.
This sounds like a break to me.
The best way to describe it would be sort of an anti-Pinterest board of how you want to dress your kids at Halloween. Yeah. So I wasn't loving it, but I thought, oh, fine. This is what they'll be wearing for Halloween. And then when we got home and they got dressed up immediately because of the excitement, they looked hilarious and very funny. And these masks, it was kind of, I think it was the proportions of these giant heads and then little skeleton bodies. It was very cute. They sort of danced and really, really felt that they transformed into these scary pumpkin skeletons. They were being the persona of.
They owned it.
Yeah, it was super, super cute. But yeah, have you dabbled in any good dress-ups in your time, Kylie?
I have indeed. I really enjoy a dress-up, any excuse to dress up, and I'm there.
This is why we get on, because I'm the same. Like, it's just super
fun.
I
used to go to these camping festivals, and on the final night would always be like a fancy dress night. So I used to go with a group.
So, sorry, camping festivals, are they bush tops?
A little bit more elevated than a bush doof. I've never been to a bush doof, but when I think of a bush doof, I think like you're deep in some valley.
Drum and bass.
Yeah, listening to drum and bass.
Yeah, okay. No. It was more like wine and food stalls.
Yeah, you get the drift. But yeah, I used to go with a group of friends and I would be in charge of our costumes. So probably 2 of my favorites were we went as Black Swans one year and the Black Swan movie came out.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, so that was a good one. And the other one that I can remember that I loved was Magicians. So we all had like top hats and vests and cute outfits. But the best thing about it was we had confetti in our pockets. So we would sprinkle it over people. And yes, it was a big crowd pleaser.
It's funny. I feel like at those sort of festivals, if you had a way to connect outside the norm,
yes.
So your little like confetti was something that it got you into the crowd. I remember going to a festival with a possum on my hand.
What? You're such a weirdo.
Yeah, me and my friend were
a fake
going,
possum, I'm assuming.
Well, we were going to a festival, and that morning
You need to confirm.
Oh, yes, not a live possum.
Like a fake possum, I assume, and you just keep moving through. I'm going to need a confirmation that's a fake possum, Miranda, before you keep moving through this story.
No, me and my friend had been in the CBD, and we walked past one of those Australiana tourism shops and saw these little possums pop out, and we bought them for the festival.
What an opportunity.
And because your hands in the air, our hands had a little possum on them. It was very good. So we'll break, Kylie. Where did your wheels fall off in life?
Okay, so the other day, nicked my ankle while I was shaving my legs. It's a tiny cut. We're talking about 1 to 2 centimeters.
Giant gash. What were you doing?
Running up my leg. No, 1 to 2 millimeters. Like, it's tiny.
Okay. Yeah.
The pain of this is it's so stingy, but that's not my gripe. My real beef is that the blood that gushed out of that tiny, tiny, tiny wound was...
It is crazy. A shaving cut causes damage.
It really does. It honestly looked like the shower scene from Psycho. So,
oh my God.
And again, that's not my full beef. I got out of the shower and proceeded to just bleed on everything. Like, I bled on the bath mat. I bled on my towel. Finally, yes, I get a Band-Aid sorted. I think I'm safe. No, I bleed on my rug.
Yeah, you don't want a shaving cut to be causing this much collateral damage in your life.
I'm not even finished yet. Then the next day, I'm all dressed. I'm good to go. About to take my dog for a walk.
24 hours later?
12 hours later. So I think I'm going to change the Band-Aid. My shoes are on. Before I can get the new Band-Aid out and on, I bleed on my Hokas, don't I?
What are your Hokas?
Oh, like, running shoes.
Oh.
And not inexpensive running shoes. God. So now I've got bloody Hokas, and that's really annoying.
Bloody Hokas.
So
and it's just that I think it's also just that life admin of that kind of thing. It's the cleanup.
It is. It's just like, this is just a lose-lose situation.
Anyway, moving on.
As we said, I have got a bumper story for you today, and I do think you will be able to guess this one. So I'm going to give you some clues. My first clue is going to be that this gal, she's not going to be bleeding on her Hokas. She has style. She has grace.
She's the nanny name friend.
No, but that's a good guess. So since 1959, this brand has stayed true to its original purpose, which is to inspire the limitless potential in every girl.
Is it Barbie?
Yes. Well done. You got it. I'm actually impressed at that. I'm not sure I would have got that.
It's very relevant at the moment, isn't it?
Well.
She's back, maybe.
She is back. And I guess having never been a Barbie or doll person, I was really interested to dive in how she managed to capture my imagination as, a grown-ass woman when she never caught my imagination as a child.
Same here, actually. I wasn't huge into the Barbies. I had them, but they came into my life in a bulk secondhand pack kind of way, which as a child, that ends up you have a sort of a lack of respect.
Yeah, you didn't have that precious unboxing moment.
Exactly. Like, you need to open it up on Christmas, pull it out the box, and then there's like this love connection. But when 20 come in a plastic box, they're going to get their hair cut. They're going to get scribbled on, and they're going to be
weird Barbies.
They're going to be weird Barbies. I had a few weird Barbies. I had one special Barbie who was in a leopard print dress, and she was outside most of the time in the bush. She was a bit of a Tarzan, Jane-esque Barbie. And the rest basically just got butchered. How about you? Did you have any?
Yes, no. So I was not a doll person. Yeah, I was more of a, read Babysitter's Club, learn the choreography to Paula Abdul dance videos. I was also into pretty niche arts and crafts as well. So,
I mean, that tracks. Creative costume making Kylie.
That's true. So today I want to talk to you about her amazing reinvention after falling out of fashion in the 2000s and how they managed to turn things around for Barbie.
It's been a big comeback, hasn't it?
I mean, I can't think of a brand that's taken over the culture in the same way that Barbie did last year and from such a fall from grace.
And I just don't think we were really, no one, like you said, no adults were really thinking about Barbie. I don't even think she would have been the foremost doll people were buying for kids. So yeah, interesting.
So I thought I should just run through a little bit of context rather than just diving into the Barbie movie, just so that we can see the contrast and Barbie's journey. Barbie was created by one of Mattel's founders, Ruth Handler, in 1959, and she quickly became the favorite doll for 9 out of 10 girls in 150 countries. So she really took the world by storm.
Barbie boom.
Yeah. The original Barbie boom. However, she's always been a divisive figure in culture, and whether or not she's moving feminism forward. Because on one hand, and this is what I think I have always thought of Barbie, she promotes this impossible beauty standard for women and girls. But on the flip side, when you think about it, Barbie provided an alternative to all those restrictive gender roles that existed, particularly in the 50s and 60s when she was created. For example, there was an astronaut Barbie in 1965, which is before NASA officially let women even be a part of the program, and it was before man walked on the moon. So it really did always have this, women can do anything vibe to her. So
yeah, I think I would be similar that my instinct would be to think that she's bad for body image over that she is pioneering women's rights. But this is interesting. Like, this is changing my perspective already a little bit.
Yeah, so going back to, because this idea of their brand purpose to, show the limitless possibilities for every girl, this is going to be a through line through this story. When you think that it wasn't until the early 70s that women were able to even open bank accounts, credit cards, or loans in their own name without a male cosign, saying that there's an astronaut Barbie in 1965 is really quite foundational.
It's crazy fact that about the 70s and the bank accounts.
Yeah, I think we forget how far we've come.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like that long ago.
Not long ago enough, yeah.
And yeah, it's that really cool thing of creativity and imagination that exists in books and writing can sometimes actually change culture, and it follows that. So yeah, Barbie, go Barbie. Didn't think about her in that way.
So I felt like I couldn't do an ep on Barbie without a small side quest into some of the kinds of Barbies there are, since there's likely upwards of 8,000 kinds of Barbies. Beyond these career aspirational Barbies, like there's Dr. Barbies, Vet Barbies, Astronaut Barbie, etc., etc. But there are some super kooky ones which are pretty funny. So there's Haunted Beauty Mistress of the Manor Barbie.
Love that. I have a niece who would be into that. She really wanted a spooky Barbie, actually. It was quite hard to find. But this year at Halloween, she's gone as Elsa 3 years in a row. But this year she killed her off and she went as dead Elsa.
Oh my God. That's so dark.
Yeah, she basically wore the same dress and then she just had an axe on a headband.
Wow, okay. Good on her. Not everyone appreciates a dark sense of humour, but I do.
So there is a market for spooky Barbie.
Yeah, Haunted Beauty Mistress of the Manor Barbie. I just love that it's like such a long, specific name.
Very, very specific, isn't it?
Lounge Kitties Barbie.
Oh, I would have liked Lounge Kitties Barbie growing up. I liked a kitty cat. My original Hotmail was kittycat@hotmail.com, 007.
Of course it was. Okay, so this is a good one. There's Sugar Daddy Ken. So, okay, there's debate online on so Sugar Daddy Ken comes with this small fluffy white dog. So there's debate online whether it's Sugar Daddy Ken or Sugar's Daddy Ken. And
I love
the
that.
dog is called
it's
Sugar.
Sugar's
it's
Daddy.
Sugar's Daddy.
Does it have an S on the package?
I couldn't find the package.
It's kind of creepy though, right? As much as they were doing for women's limitless possibilities and work, then they also included a sugar daddy.
I'm sure they had to know what they were doing.
What year release was this?
It's a good question. I don't know. Sugar Daddy can release 2010. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing.
It's Sugar's daddy then.
There is also much like the Beauty Mistress of the Manor, there's Empress of the Aliens Barbie. So your niece might like that one as well. And then
sign her up.
And then there's one called McDonald's Funtime Barbie, who some people online called Minimum Wage Barbie. And she comes to work at McDonald's with her little sister, weirdly. So also there's been countless celebrity collaborations. So the first celebrity Barbie was Twiggy in 1967.
That's a good one. That makes sense.
Tracks.
She's ready to be a Barbie.
Yeah, but there's honestly countless, but some of my favorites included Karl Lagerfeld, Elton John, and my personal favorite, and honestly the closest I've ever come to buying a doll, is the Stevie Nicks Barbie.
I am surprised you don't own that. Now that you know, is it on the wish list?
It's on the cards, like it really is.
I think it's kind of like a Pandora's box. So if you get one Barbie, what's the limit of how many novelty Barbies you can have until it becomes a weird thing?
I think that is why I've stopped myself, because I'm like, is this really who you are and who you want to be? Someone who buys novelty Barbies? What does this say about me?
One novelty Barbie on your mantelpiece, on your little bookshelf moment collection of candles, and there's a Stevie Nicks Barbie. I sign up for that.
But once we go to 2, then it's
getting weird.
Yeah.
Once you've got 4, you're hiding them in a cupboard.
Yeah. So look, it's not ruled out. We'll see. So I have a question for you, Miranda. What kind of Barbie do you think you'd be?
Oh, that's hard. Okay. Give me a moment to think. I'd be kind of like losing my bag Barbie. I'd have my shirt on inside out.
I'll tell you what she would have. She'd have a pair of Havaianas on.
I'd have some Havaianas on. I'd have a latte, my shirt on back to front. Yeah, lose your bag Barbie. Forget your water bottle Barbie.
Well, she'd be cheap to produce. She wouldn't come with any accessories.
She's lost one. Oh dear. What Barbie would you be?
Oh God, I can't. I'm not sure I can top that, but I definitely have a bleed on your Hokas Barbie.
Okay, so it feels aligned. We're a bit of a dodgy duo.
Loose unit Barbie. Running late Barbie.
You're running late Barbie.
I am running late Barbie.
It's a passive-aggressive gift you can give to people who are always late.
That's actually not a bad idea, is it? Running late Barbie.
I have so many people to give that to. Not myself, because although I might, like I said, shirt on inside out, be a bit of a hot mess sometimes, I am on time to the minute.
You are, definitely. So you're very patient with me.
But yeah, you're getting a Stevie Nicks and a running late Barbie for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the on the flip side, often like the running late Barbie is that you are thinking about all the details. So you do arrive with your water bottle. You do arrive.
True. You're organised,
but late.
And I'm unorganised and on time.
Yeah. So if we could only combine our forces for good, we'd be the perfect
Some people
person.
can. Type A people can.
Yeah. We're betas trying to be alphas.
Beta Barbies. Ah, dear Mattel, if you're listening, seriously.
Call us. So, moving on. There have been some serious blind spots from the innovation team at Barbie, though, over the years. And in fact, I felt that some of these blunders could certainly be put into our break category. So, a couple that stood out to me, the 1965 Slumber Party Barbie. What would you expect a slumber party in 1965 to come with, Miranda, like in terms of accessories?
Well, a party pillow.
Yep. Keep going.
PJs. Yep. A teddy bear because it's the 60s, so like a little teddy that you're going to take.
A little plush. Cute.
Yeah, a little plushie.
So,
and a toothbrush.
Okay, so I'm going to put you out of misery. I thought that'd be
You want more? She would have.
So it came with pajamas, curlers, bobby pins and a brush. So you got the pajamas. However, there's 2 controversial accessories, a scale permanently set to 110 pounds, which is 50 kilos. And
back to bad body image, Barbie. That's not okay.
And even worse, a little book called How to Lose Weight, and literally only had one piece of advice in the book, which was don't eat.
Oh my goodness.
Like, this is real.
That's the scariest part, is that is real. I actually remember my friend in high school found her grandma's old diet book, and we read it in high school, which is, the north. So again, I don't think there's been the changes we need in diet culture anyway. But the advice in this 1960s book was like, do not eat breakfast. This unnecessary meal should be avoided at all costs. So yeah, that does actually track.
Just don't eat, gals.
Survive on air so you can get my impossible body proportions.
Yay, it's so fun to be a teenager in the 60s. So in 1992, they released Teen Talk Barbie. This Barbie contained a voice box and said an assortment of phrases, including, will we ever have enough clothes? And math class is tough, which was quite rightly objected to by the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics as detrimental to the effort to encourage girls to study math and science. And, you think about it, they wouldn't have been trying to say, oh, let's make teen girls not study maths. It's just an oversight. They would have been talking probably to teen girls and reflecting back what they were hearing. Teen girls do say maths class sucks. If they want to say that they're about limitless potential, then they needed to kind of turn that around to be, math class is tough, but I'm going to figure it out or whatever.
You're so right. They weren't staying true to their brand purpose.
Yeah. Moving on, Barbie led the way for fashion dolls until the 90s, but then her sales began to slump in the late 90s, and between 2011 and 2015, Barbie reported a savage decline of 30%, which was their lowest point in 15 years. Yeah, so by 2015, things were looking pretty bleak for Barbie. Richard Dixon, COO and president at Mattel, which, okay, side note, what a terrible name for the COO of Barbie, Richard Dixon.
I
mean, one dick's okay. I was like,
Dick Dixon.
Yeah, it's a lot of dick.
Oh my God.
Can I say that?
That's like a made-up name for the character from the movie. Like, that's his real name. The head of Barbie, who is a man, annoyingly, it's called Dickie Dixon.
I know, right?
Is that what we're calling him now?
I think moving forward, he shall be known as Dickie Dixon, because that's still PG, isn't it? So back to his quote. Remember, Barbie's having a savage decline. We're in 2015. When Mattel conducted research with customers, they recognized a strong disconnect with Barbie. Mums increasingly viewed the brand as vapid, one-dimensional, and worse, literally uninspiring. Barbie was officially out of fashion and off-brand for herself. If she's been called uninspiring, then the limitless potential in every girl is just not being centered.
I think it would be hard to completely... You got to remember, she started in the 60s, to keep up with culture, and toys have changed so much. Like, toys all do something now. Like, they have an element of interactivity that perhaps like a static doll, Barbie doll, whose like stretched form isn't like relatable, is missing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they did keep reinventing Barbie. It's not like it's just been the same Barbie. There's all these different career Barbies, but there was just something that they were missing. They weren't reinventing. They weren't listening to culture. Something that they were not doing is listening to the ongoing criticism of her body shape and the lack of diversity. If you can remember, like, Dove's Real Beauty campaign came out in the mid-2000s. So those conversations were really starting to happen. And that lack of diversity, both in skin tone and body shape, was really starting to have an impact on how Barbie was viewed. She just seemed really out of date, right? So they had, over the years, kind of shifted and tweaked her body mold. So she wasn't like she was in 1959, but it was really quite performative. It wasn't until after these 5 years, when they were like, shit, we've really got to do something here, that they put their backs into it.
And be authentic in how they made those changes as well.
Exactly. And not just be like, oh, okay, we've ticked this box. Now love us again. They're really doing the research and listening. So in 2015, they launched a line of 24 dolls, and these dolls had 8 different skin tones and some shock horror curly haired options. So this is the kind of diversity in quote marks that we're talking about, you know. And then in 2016, Mattel rolled out curvy Barbie, tall Barbie, and petite Barbie.
2016 feels too late, but, you know, they got there.
They got there in the end. And then since then, Barbie has diversified to include 35 skin tones, 97 hairstyles, and 9 body types. So,
good.
So they obviously saw that it worked and they lent into it. So that's great.
That's a nice reaction from the public as well, that it positively impacted their popularity and sales. So it's, you know, demanded by the people that diversity and equality is represented in these dolls. And when they did that, sales had went up. Yeah. So that's a nice reflection of our culture, I think.
So I guess that's one thing. That's about the toy, isn't it? But how we get from there to the full kind of reinvention, Barbie core world domination moment we saw last year.
Yes. The marketing machine was insane.
Yeah. For the Barbie movie, Mattel were very particular about telling the right story at the right time, they say. So Mattel signed on with Universal, who created the movie in 2009. I didn't know that. So there's been so there's been lots of iterations of the movie, and so they were really trying to make sure that they were telling the right story. So Lisa McKnight, the company's chief brand officer, said, "We were always clear that we did not want a live action film to be a commercial for toys. We wanted to create art. We wanted to create a cultural conversation."
I mean, I would agree with that, although there is like a Mattel logo littered throughout the whole movie.
I mean, of course, but yeah, it's not a toy commercial. I think that
No, it's not. And it's beautiful to watch.
It is art, and I think it did create a cultural conversation. So I think they did their job. And I think it really shows Mattel's commitment to building Barbie as a brand more than a toy, which is a really important distinction. They went back to the roots of the brand. So again, the original brand purpose, which was to inspire the limitless potential in every girl. Dickie Dixon says, "Limitless potential is the cornerstone of the origins of Barbie. But from a contextual point of view, what limitless potential meant 65 years ago compared to 20 years ago compared to today is different. That language is powerful, but the context around it is so important."
I like that their purpose and this limitless potential purpose is so strong and simple that it's been able to carry them into like different iterations yet stay like their cornerstone and make them relevant even as culture changes. That shows how strong a good purpose can be from a, you know, brand nerd.
What I loved about this part of the story is that as a brand nerd, as you say, is that they didn't go, "Oh, Barbie's out of fashion, so we need to nuke everything and like create a new purpose." They went back to the purpose and reinterpreted what the purpose meant.
Yeah, it's very clever, very clever.
Yeah, and then also what it meant is that they didn't abandon who Barbie is and was, because as we discussed in the last episode, the risk of innovation is abandoning the brand equity that you've built up and the nostalgia and, you know, the Barbie stans. There's always going to be people who love your brand no matter what, right? So you don't want to abandon people who've grown up with Barbie and do have that attachment. So they stayed true to Barbie's values and persona. She's still vivacious, she's pink, and she's a vibe. She's joyful and aspirational. And they're all qualities that have been maintained. I don't want to get into a big conversation about the movie's plot and dialogue just because...
Can I put my 2 cents in about the movie?
Yes.
You've seen the movie. Everyone's seen the movie. I've seen it twice now. And the first watch, I think I had very high expectations of what it was going to be because it had been hyped so much and we'd seen so much Barbie mania leading up, and also, you know, the names that were involved, so Margot Robbie and Greta. I had this expectation that maybe it was going to be a little bit more indie than it was, which was probably misguided considering it was, you know, a blockbuster movie. But my only problem with it is it was a bit disappointing that I think Ryan Gosling as Ken, a man, stole the show over Margot Robbie in a movie that was meant to be about female empowerment. It was his acting and his portrayal of Ken that was so charismatic that we couldn't stop watching it. And I'm not saying I think Margot did a bad job. Like, she was a good Barbie, and I know she's a good character actress. I think I just was a bit disappointed. I feel like she could have been a bit more of a baddie instead of leaning into that bimbo Barbie style of persona.
I think with the idea that Barbie would be a bit more of a baddie, because it was the first Barbie, like maybe if there was a sequel, she could be a bit more badass. But I think it would have been a little bit lacking self-awareness if in this movie Barbie was a badass, because what they were trying to say is that we understand that Barbie has been viewed as this bimbo living in Barbie land and doesn't understand what's happening in the real world. And, you know, we've fallen out of fashion. And I think it was actually quite clever for them to address that. And then when she came into the real world, she had this real shock that she didn't belong there anymore because she hadn't the brand, sorry, now like I'm thinking about Mattel, hadn't listened and did feel irrelevant. And when goes up to those teen girls and they don't want anything to do with her and she thinks that she's great, it kind of shows this like great self-awareness from Mattel that they're like, we know we've not been listening, but we're here to, you know, join the modern world and figure out our place in it.
Wow, so they actually integrated their own brand story into the character arc of Margot's Barbie.
I mean, I hadn't really thought about that before, but now I feel like
genius.
Am I a genius? It's very meta, isn't it?
It's very meta, but I think you're right. And yeah, okay. Looking at it at that angle, I'm glad that they did do that. And that was, you know, an acknowledgement that works really well for their brand and also helps justify some of the poorer parts of their history for them.
Yeah.
So it's very clever marketing. I mean, the whole movie, whether we want to believe it's art or not, was also insanely good, clever marketing.
Yeah. I saw a quote saying, the devil works hard, but the Barbie brand and marketing team work harder. So the marketing budget was $150 million, which actually makes it bigger than the movie budget, which was $145 million.
I believe that because it was so – I can't think of anything else that was so hyped and consistent.
Yeah, so there were 165 brand collaborations leading up to the movie's launch, which is, you know, massive, and huge variation in these collaborations. You know, it wasn't all just high fashion or teen girlies or makeup lines. They really were strategic in trying to address all different demographics so that it was an invitation to all consumers to engage or re-engage and align themselves with the Barbie brand. So another quote from Dickie Dixon, we want to get everyone playing with Barbie, and that doesn't necessarily mean playing with a doll. And I love the idea that he said, you know, playing with Barbie, because that really was what all of those collaborations were, right? It was like this invitation to have fun with us, join us as we have fun, you know?
I actually remember, I don't know if you did this, but leading up to the movie, there was that AI tool where you could Barbie your photo.
Oh, like an online generator.
Yeah, so you could online generate your photo into, and then they would put Barbie in this little scene. And, you know, my whole family did it. Mum and dad. Dad was a Ken, and he was a dashing Ken.
He?
And he had a big woolen scarf and was like walking down a business street.
Bless him.
It was very funny.
Some of these collabs included high-end handbags by Balmain, Crocs.
Widgets. Yeah, Croc Barbie widgets would have been an easy win.
Yeah, widgets, but also they did a hot pink Croc as well.
Yes, the colour. Oh, honestly, that's one of the brand strengths as well, isn't it? That monochromatic colour that is instantly
They
Barbie.
really lent into that pink. And again, that's a legacy item of Brandy's brand.
It was Brandy Barbie's friend. But Brandy is our 3 Box Left collab with Barbie.
Barbie's brand, a legacy item from Barbie's brand. Back to collabs. Microsoft made a Barbie Xbox. Airbnb kitted out a rental based on the Malibu Barbie dream house.
So fun.
Italian footwear brand Superga did a line of shoes. Hungry Jack's did a burger with pink coloured sauce.
I bet that tasted delicious.
Do you like Hungry Jack's?
No. Do you?
Not really.
I probably would have passed on the Barbie collab there.
But I can't 100% say that I wouldn't have. Do you know what I mean? Like if I was going to see the movie and we were running late and my friends were like, oh, we're just going to grab some Hungry Jacks and take it into the movie. Do you want a Barbie burger with pink sauce? I can't say,
I'd say
I
yes.
can't say that I would say no.
Okay, it's not a definitive no that Kylie, you wouldn't eat a Barbie burger.
Yeah, exactly. It's like getting into the spirit of it. It's, oh, hell, go on then. You know, that's what it is. That's the vibe.
Yeah. Okay. We can have Barbie burgers.
There was OPI nail polish. And another good one was Barbie and Ken were doling out advice via Bumble's Encounters feature, which is quite a cool idea.
Clever.
And then also their collaboration with Google was every time you Googled Barbie during that time, they did like a screen takeover and it filled with Barbie stars and different elements from the movie.
I mean, a Google takeover is just that little spark of joy in your normal day.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think they really knew that joy and that fun is part of the Barbie brand. So they were able to infuse that into all of these collaborations.
I mean, it is a crazy, like when you were talking about that marketing budget, that is a crazy amount of Barbie takeover that the world and the world's brands experienced in 2023. Yeah. And if you think about it, Barbie collaborated with Hollywood. The movie's a collaboration.
Yeah, she really is the ultimate collab gal.
That's their marketing strategy, is collab their heart out.
So from all these collaborations, you can see being a Barbie fan doesn't mean just that you play with the dolls anymore. You know, she's bigger than that, and she's a brand. She's an inspiration. She's a lifestyle choice. She's, you know, and even the way that some of the phrases from the movie started infiltrating like Kenergy and saying you're Knarf.
I mean, it was absolute gold.
So, yeah, so they really expanded all the different ways that different types of people, all demographics, could engage with and be delighted by the joy of Barbie.
It's funny. Yeah, the joy of Barbie is an interesting aspect because if you have that in your brand, which I guess Barbie does and Disney does, then you can do a world takeover because people are immediately already receptive to these collaborations and this sparking joy and imagination and fun. But not every brand has that kind of equity behind them to be able to do it. I don't think Johnson & Johnson could do a world takeover because pharmaceuticals don't spark joy and shampoo doesn't spark joy in the same way.
That's true. Yeah, so they really saw their strength and they lent into it.
Yeah, and what you said earlier about the fact that they were on a decline and Barbie was on a downward out of fashion trajectory, this $140 million world takeover has bought them years of future relevance.
Yeah, and I also love just the way that they opened up the conversation to not just Barbie fans. So the trailer to the movie was, if you love Barbie, if you hate Barbie, then this is the movie for you. So they were really self-aware in saying, we know not everyone loves Barbie, and just really opened up that invitation that this is for everyone. This is not just for original Barbie fans.
All for 7-year-olds.
Yeah, all for 7-year-olds.
Yeah. Generation. Yeah. Completely changed their image. I mean, it is marketing genius.
Yeah. Just a layer on top of that is, I think, and certainly worth a mention, is Margot Robbie's curated looks for each of her promotional events, referencing the vintage Barbie outfits. Again, she's just building out the brand of Barbie and tapping into the nostalgia and the core of the visuals of the brand, but bringing this, you know, fresh modern take with an actor who's at the prime of her career.
Her world tour premiere, kind of as a Margot Robbie Barbie hybrid, was unbelievable. I think I know my algorithm was basically serving me a Margot Robbie look at least every 2 days. I remember hearing people were like, we can't take it anymore. Yeah. We love her, but we've seen enough.
The girls and the gays were flatlining.
Yeah, we couldn't take any more amazing Chanel twin sets.
So, yeah, you think about all of these brand touch points happening at the same time. You know, they've got this movie out that's platforming all these conversations about feminism and beauty standards, and not that they're just saying, oh, Barbie's amazing now, but it's allowing people to have these, not fights, what am I trying to say? It's giving people an opportunity.
Discourse.
Thank you. Discourse. To have this discourse.
It was tons of discourse.
Tons of discourse. So you've got those bigger conversations, but then also there's this fun, accessible pop culture moments, and it's online viral moments with Margot's outfits, but then also accessible in our everyday lives through, a burger or OPI nail polish.
You'd have to be living off grid to avoid this Barbie hysteria.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it made Barbie both meaningful and also fashionable and cool again. She's like back in the zeitgeist, embedded in culture. So
you can buy your Stevie Nicks Barbie, Kylie. You're cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I just needed someone to give me permission. She has products in over 50 categories now because Mattel are really focused on building out her brand outside of the toy aisle. So food, fitness, clothing. I'm just going to finish on a quote by Krista Berger, who is the Senior Vice President.
Sorry, another insane name. Krista Berger and Dickie Dixon. A name won't hold you back in life is what we're also learning.
Key insight. So she is Senior Vice President, Barbie, and Head of Dolls at Mattel, which is a great title. Barbie is at her best when she's in a two-way dialogue with society and culture. So when she is both a reflection of and an inspiration to culture. So I love that idea that they've realized that they need to be listening to the conversations about diversity and beauty standards. And then they also need to position themselves as aspirational and fun and lean into all of these brand values that people get a kick out of, so that she's inspiring culture as well. So, yeah, Miranda, it's Barbie's world and we're just all living in it. And I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here, but I do have a tiny bugbear.
Okay.
My tiny bugbear, I think, is still they need more work in the impossible beauty standard that they set for young females in the world. It would be nice just to remove those dimensions. Like, I know you said there's choice and there's diversity, but it would be nice just to take that impossible body standard version away completely and be done with it forever.
You want death to stereotypical Barbie?
Yeah, I do. I think that should be discontinued. I think if they really want to be true to their authentic, limitless possibility Barbie core, she needs to be gone. Be gone with her.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, on that positive note.
Sorry, I hijacked your make story, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, great, cool, thanks. So we might wrap it there. Just before we finish, though, we wanted to do a little shout out to our newest reviewer, Potty Joe. Thank you so much for your kind words. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Potty Joe. And if anyone else feels like they enjoyed this episode, we'd love you to rate and review us on your streaming service. I'll see you next week, Kylie, for our mega break story.
Mega break. All right, amazing. See you then. Bye.
Bye.
And so ends another expedition into the lands of brands and design. We hope you loved it as much as we love creating it. If you did, we would love you to follow us so you never miss an episode and to help other people find us.
If you're interested in learning more about creating brands, we have a free brand strategy workbook you can download from our website, 3blocksleft.com.au.
Until next time, stay on the Odyssey, brave creatives. Bye.